Hey, Tigers! It's me, it's Mr. Allen, and I'm really excited to get to know you all this year. And this is our little intro video. This is to help you prepare for your syllabus quiz, which you get to take open note, and you can take it as many times as you want. So you should get a perfect score on it. Everyone should get a perfect score. So this is kind of an intro thing, and then I'll walk through some of the expectations and the things that are on the syllabus. So I want to go fast, so let's go. This is kind of my intro slide, and this is a really old picture. I probably should update the picture, but it's so hard to get a family photo. So this is my wife, Amy, and she teaches at Little Elementary. This is my son, Caden. He actually is 19 now, and he's out of the house, and he's living in Finland, and he's loving life. Yeah, he doesn't live with us anymore. And then this is my daughter, Tessa, who is now 14, and she's going to be a freshman this year at Ralston Valley. I'm going to let you, I put 5 fun facts about Mr. Allen. And you can read through those on your own. But this is my 21st year of teaching. I've been doing this for a long time, and I feel like I'm getting pretty good at it. So let's go. Then sometimes kids are like, why do you become an English teacher? Do you like your job? I do really like my job. I'll let you read why, but I do really like being a teacher. Sometimes, when I'm talking to other people, adults, they're like, oh, you're a teacher? That must be really hard. I hear that it's kind of a stinky job, blah, blah, blah. But I do. There are stinky days. There are days where I don't really love it. But for the most part, I do really enjoy my job. And I love reading, and I love writing, and I love sharing my passion for those things with students. And I love helping students develop their voice. I think it's such an important thing. Okay, so I do think it's important for me to talk about maybe why I do some things the way I do them. So I always tell students that the reason that I am weird and the reason that I'm different is because I was born in a different century. So some of the things that you do and you feel like are important, I don't understand because I wasn't born in this century. And I don't understand the cell phone thing because I didn't have a cell phone growing up. And I don't understand the headphones constantly in the ear thing because I didn't have headphones when I was growing up. And I was always taught when you walk into a building, you take your hat off because that is polite. But, I understand that things change. I understand that you're different than I am. But I also want you to understand why I act the way I act. I put up there, you can't really read it, but when I was in high school, teachers didn't talk about their personal lives. We just did work, right? And I kind of old school that way. I don't love talking about my personal life at work. And I really struggle with small talk. I have a hard time, getting that small talk stuff about it. I'm a very private person. I don't usually talk about myself. I would rather talk about books or movies or writing or something like that. Something formative, something big. Another thing that kind of informs my behaviors is I'm a very religious person. I go to church every single week. I have always been religious, and I can't really talk about religion at school. I'm not supposed to because it's school. If you're curious, I'm happy to talk about it outside of class. But because I'm religious, I hate cursing. And we'll talk about that more later. One of my rules in my classroom is I don't allow my students to curse. Okay, so I do think that it's a good idea to talk to you about my parenting style because it informs how I run a classroom. I am what we call an authoritative parent. There's 4 parenting styles. I'm authoritative parent. So what that means is I have high expectations. Demanding might not be the right word, right? It might be better if it was high expectations. I have high expectations, but I'm also very warm and supportive and accepting. And so that translates to love in my family, right? I have high expectations for my children, but I love them to death. What we see sometimes in school is authoritarian teachers where they're cold and distant and maybe kind of angry, and then demanding would be probably an appropriate word for that. And sometimes with parents and teachers, we see permissive parenting, which is where they kind of are uninvolved and they're like, I don't know if there is one that's called uninvolved, but they take a step back and they're like, well, I can't really do anything about this. And I guess the kids are just going to do what they do, and I don't want them to hate me, so I'm not going to have any rules. That's not me, right? I am going to support my students. I'm going to be very warm and accepting, and I'm going to try and be super supportive, but I also have super high expectations for you. All right, so there's that. Then you can read the pet peeves. I will talk about whataboutisms because I think I need to define that. And this one up here, you can't really read. So I said, students want me to break a rule for them just this one time, just for me. I'm not about that. I'm a rule follower. I want to follow the rules, right? Whataboutisms happen in politics all the time, and it happens at high schools all the time. So I'll go over to a student and I'll say, hey, I need you to get on task, or I need you to do such and such. I need you to stop playing games on your computer, whatever it is. And they go, well, what about Johnny? What they're trying to do is they're trying to distract me from their behavior and get me off on, get me focused on another student. And that's not cool. I don't like whataboutisms. And you can read the rest of these on your own. Okay. So I like students who do the following things. I love students who are honest with me and who make appointments and keep their appointments. I like students who write down their assignments in their planner and they're organized and they do their homework and they do the reading and they're ready to go when they come to class. I also love students who understand that they're going to make mistakes and they're going to fail at things and then they take responsibility. I love it when a student comes in and they say, Mr. Allen, I really messed up and this is how I'm going to fix it, right? They come with solutions. So I'll let you read the rest of those. Then let's talk about earning social capital. So everything you do in class, I'm watching, right? I'm watching every rule and expectation that you follow. I'm watching and noticing that you did the assigned reading. I'm watching that you turned in your stuff on time. One day you are going to need a favor. And if you have earned enough social capital, if you've earned a good rapport with me, I'm going to bend over backwards. I'm going to help you with whatever you need. If you haven't earned a good rapport and you don't have enough social capital, then I'm not going to help you. So we're all going to need that favor, and you want to be in teachers' good graces. So that's kind of why you do the things that they ask you to do, right? Okay. Then I don't have my own classroom. So here's contact information on my schedule. This is all in the syllabus. So there's my email. Because I don't have my own classroom, I share with Miss Bolger. Anytime that I'm not teaching, Miss Bolger is teaching in A121. So I kind of live in the office, the English office, which is A115 during my plan periods, which are 1, 7, and 8. And you're welcome to come by if you want, but it's not guaranteed that I'm going to be there. So I like students to make appointments. I think it's a really good skill to learn too, to be able to make an appointment. So in Google Classroom, you will see that there's a link that kind of looks like this, and you click Meet with Allen, and then it's going to take you to this Google Calendar app, and you can select a time. You won't be able to select a time when I'm teaching or anything like that. And then you'll go to A115. Please don't make appointments when you're in other classes. You should be making appointments like before school or during your off blocks or during your study hall blocks, but not when you're supposed to be in algebra or Spanish or whatever like that. Then you also can see during block 7 that I have study hall. You are welcome to come and just drop by and talk to me in study hall. But if you go to A115 and I'm not there, then it's because I'm in D212 and I'm doing study hall during that block. All right. I have behavior non-negotiables in my classroom. And so I think it's important that we talk about these, and we'll talk about them in class as well. So I don't allow food, candy, snacks in my classroom. It's also a Lakewood rule. And I know that there's teachers at Lakewood that don't follow that one and you can eat in their classroom. I'm a rule follower, so I'm going to do what my boss tells me to do. So we don't have food in the classroom and we're not bringing our breakfast or our lunch. But I'm not a monster. So if you are dying because you're hungry and you can't focus, come talk to me and say, hey, Mr. Allen, I really need to eat. Can I go out in the hallway and eat this little snack really fast? Great. Sounds good. I am okay with drinks with lids. I'm going to have my water bottle and you are welcome to bring your drinks. Just keep a lid on it so that if it spills, it's not going to go all over the carpet and everything. And then, like I talked about, I don't allow cursing in my class. I know that that might be strange and you're used to being able to say whatever you want to say, but I want to teach and work in an environment where I'm comfortable, and I'm not comfortable when I have students that are dropping the F-bomb every other word. So I feel like it's not a huge thing, and usually my students don't have a problem with it, but it's like grandma's house. You don't curse at grandma's house. Same with Mr. Allen's classroom. And I think every teacher in the history of the world has had respect to everyone on their non-negotiables. Let's talk really quickly about bathrooms. I do bathrooms maybe a little different than other teachers. So I don't allow bathrooms during the first and last 15 minutes of class. You have a passing period really close to those times. And so you should be utilizing passing period to go to the bathroom. If I can make it to the bathroom during passing period, then you can. You have a really long passing period here at Lakewood. So I just ask, don't ask me to go during the first 15 minutes or the last 15 minutes. I also ask that you don't ask me to go while I'm giving instructions. It's better when we're doing work, when we're having work time for you to go. When you get permission to go, you go sign out on the computer, you take the pass, you're gone for 5 minutes. When you come back, you sign back in. And sometimes students are freaking out because they're like, what if I'm 5 minutes and 30 seconds? I think that's fine. What I'm trying to guard against is the kids that are gone for 15 minutes and 20 minutes and 30 minutes because they're out wandering the school and talking to their friends in the atrium. And then they go to the library and then they go all over the place. We don't want that. So we want to be back really quickly so other people can go to the bathroom. This is the late work and makeup policy. And it's really small, but it's in your syllabus as well. Really quickly, I do want to talk about, yes, when you are absent, you have the ability on your own to figure out what you missed. Every single day I post my slides to Google Classroom, and every single day there's a slide called What I Missed. And you just go and you look at it and it'll tell you exactly what you need to do to get made up. And sometimes it'll say, this is in Google Classroom, or here's a link to this. And you just do that on your own. You don't really need to make an appointment with me or ask, because I do that every single day. I also will just remind you, as per Jeffco's Lakewood policy, you do have 2 days, but that doesn't affect large assignments that I've given you at least a week's notice of the deadline. So like if I say, hey, the final draft of your essay is due next week on Friday, and it's, at least a week notice, then you don't get an extension because you were sick that day, right? Like it's due that day. And sometimes I've had students that are like, well, I took the day off so that I could go work on my essay, and then I get an extension of 2 days. That's, gaming the system, and that's not how it's intended to work. So we don't do that. I'll let you read the rest on your own. So cell phone, headphone policy. We have the pockets, the classroom pockets up at the front of the room. As you walk in, you put it in the cell phone pocket. I shouldn't have to ask you to do that. I shouldn't have to remind you. Cell phones aren't supposed to live in your bags, your purses, your pockets, your desk, your lap. You shouldn't have your cell phone with you. It should be in the pockets. You understand how distracting those things are, and you want to be able to focus as much as possible. And it's the district policy. It's state law now that we have to have a cell phone policy. You can read the consequences on your own. Headphone policy is very similar. I just want you to keep them in your bag. You don't need them in your pockets. Please, please, please don't hide them in your hair. Have them in your hair, your ears, and then have your hair over them. I know I don't have any hair, but I know that trick. And it's really frustrating. And it makes it so that you have divided attention and you're not going to do as well. I will sometime allow music, and I'll let you know. I ask that you just figure out how you're going to listen to music on your Chromebook. But like if we're writing, I like to have music in the background when I write. So I totally understand. And so I'll say, hey, put your headphones in while we're working on this. But I have a red arrow up at the front of class, and I'll signal to you that it's okay to have your headphones with the red arrow. Okay, so this is the AI policy, and this is just a picture. And it's the same policy essentially for my AP classes and my English 9 classes. we don't allow AI, and we're going to talk about it at length. I'm going to let you, read it. One thing I do want to highlight, that if it's suspected that there's AI in an assignment, I'm going to call you in, and it's on you to prove to me that it was human generated and that the content has been mastered. So that's really easy to do when you actually generated it yourself. That's really hard to do when you had AI produce something. And sometimes I'll have students show up and they're like, well, here's the real document. And then they've gone and retyped something. That's once again to the honesty thing. So just don't mess with AI. I don't allow it. You shouldn't be messing with it. No AI on anything. And that's it. Whoa, the whole thing. We did it. Yay. So you can totally use this video. You can totally have the syllabus open while you are doing your quiz, and you can take it as many times as you want. You should get 100%. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope you have a great day. We'll see you in class, Tigers. Bye.